Hey guys, Damien Chong here, Weber Grill Master here at the Weber Grill Academy. Today we're going to be cooking up some Ontario pork ribs. We have two cuts of ribs. We've got baby back ribs and we've got side ribs, also known as St. Louis style ribs. So here we have our baby back ribs, typically distinguished by a bit more of a tapered end. They have great flavor. But wait, St. Louis style ribs are also beautiful. They've got lots of meat on the bone. They do take a little bit longer to cook, but well worth the wait. St. Louis style ribs often are cut in a perfect rectangle. Sometimes if you ask your butcher for just side ribs by themselves, they might have a bit more of a flap here that just needs to be removed. So the first thing we're going to do when prepping our ribs is we are going to make sure that we remove the membrane from the back of our ribs. This is important because we want to get that seasoning right into the flesh of the ribs. So over here, I'm going to use my paring knife and we are going to score right along the bone just like this. I'm going to lift up just a little bit on each side. So we take a little piece of paper towel, we'll roll this up, and now this allows for easy gripping. Look at this. Just simple like that. We're going to remove this membrane. From here, we are actually going to start to season now. So we have our mustard, which we're going to apply, and then we're going to add some rub over here. I like to use mustard just because not only does it add a bit of a tangy flavor, but it also allows for our seasoning to really adhere itself to the meat. So over here, we're going to do the same thing and apply all of this mustard on both sides. So we're going to finish off painting not only both sides, but even the edges as well. And we're going to make sure that we get the seasoning on both sides as well, just like the mustard. So we end up seasoning liberally, and I like to season from up above just because I don't want concentrated pockets, but I want a very even coat of seasoning all the way around. So our seasoning here is a little bit of paprika, there's chili powder, there's a little bit of dried oregano, salt, pepper, and lots of brown sugar. Brown sugar really helps the caramelizing process of our ribs. We're also going to season our side ribs over here, our St. Louis style ribs. Now we're going to cook our ribs on the Weber smoke fire using our pellet grill. I love this grill because we are able to get woodsy aroma on our food. We are also able to cook these ribs for 5 or 6 hours without having to babysit them too much. Currently, it's been preheated to 250 degrees, which is exactly where I want it to be. Now we're going to get our ribs on. First, we're going to put our St. Louis style ribs on, just like this. And now we're going to get our baby back ribs on as well, just like this. We're going to close this lid, and we're going to come back intermittently and hit it with a little bit of a mist of apple juice and apple cider vinegar. So it's been 45 minutes, and now our ribs are starting to develop a little bit of a crust or a bark on the outside. Now we want to introduce a little bit of a spray. In here I've got some apple cider vinegar and some apple juice. So we're going to lift the lid, we're going to spray this down just like that, and we're going to continue to do this every about 45 minutes until our ribs reach a temperature of 160, at which point we are then going to crutch them. Okay guys, so our ribs have reached 165 degrees, so we're going to pull them off now and we're going to get to crutching. So we're going to take our tray, we're going to take our ribs, so our ribs have come to that sweet spot of 165 degrees, and now we've got 3 options to basically push them through that stall stage all the way up to about 203 to 205. We want to do this because we want to break down all that connective tissue, turning it into collagen, and then therefore making it into that beautiful succulent meat. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of mist to our ribs, and we're also going to season both sides of our ribs with a little bit of sauce. So here we make sure that we apply our barbecue sauce that we make in-house, but also feel free to use any barbecue sauce that you like at home. And this is just going to add both flavor and moisture to our meat when they get wrapped. So we've added barbecue sauce to both sides of our ribs. So at this point we have 3 options, as we mentioned before. We can either put them back on the grill, not adding any extra help, and therefore taking the ribs to 203 to 205. It's just sometimes by doing it that way, you end up with a bit of a drier end result. So we now have 2 other options we can talk about. We have foil, or we also have butcher paper. We can use either or. Today we're going to do one in butcher paper and one in foil. Take our baby back ribs, and these are going to go right in the center. We wrap this up here and here, and we want to create a nice pocket. So we end up crimping the edges here. So these are ready to go back on the grill. Now, we also have the option of using butcher paper, and make sure it is unwaxed butcher paper. I know sometimes you can get butcher paper at the butcher's, for example, but one side typically has a bit of wax on it just to prevent any moisture leaking. This, on the other hand, has no wax on either side. So we are going to take our ribs here. We're going to put these down. And now we are also going to do the same thing. We're going to wrap these up just like this. We're going to wrap these up just like that. And we end up folding this in, spinning this around. And the reason why we like butcher paper, on the other hand, as well, is because this allows our meat to breathe as it finishes cooking on the grill. Therefore, it helps us keep that bark and allows us to get that beautiful texture that we're looking for. Our pellet grill has stayed at 250 degrees, and now we're going to take these back to the Weber smoke fire to get them all the way to 203 or 205 degrees. All right, guys, so according to our thermometer, our ribs have reached that magical temperature of between 203 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit. So now it's important, before we dive right into these, we let them rest. They need to rest for at least 30 to 45 minutes, and typically we like to use Old Blue over here, our cooler. This is our dedicated barbecue cooler. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pop these ribs inside, allowing them to rest, meanwhile maintaining their heat inside the cooler for at least that 30 to 45 minute period. We're gonna get right into these ribs. Look at this. Look at that beautiful smoke ring. Remember, guys, pink is okay. You can see that perfect smoke ring all around the edge. These two, we're gonna take a look at our side ribs. This pink ring is gorgeous.